Welcome to Fendick's Fishery in Norfolk. The session's got off to an absolutely flying start with this 42-pound catfish. We've got 48 hours on our hands to see how many of these beasts we can catch. Good evening, it's 9:15. Just hooked into the second cat of the session. Feels like a good one, as you can see. Rod's bent absolutely double. This is on a really tight clutch as well, it's managed to take this much line. Right, so it's coming towards the end of the battle now, the fish are starting to tire. We've got the Scepter 4.5 pound spod rod that's doing the business. Spooled up with 20-pound mono, just to deal with the runs. It won't fit. Yeah, get in. Right, second one on the session landed. We'll get her out and have a look at her on the mat. So this fish has just seen me playing. Came in at just under 40 pound. This was taken on one of the 20mm Mighty Meat, 20mm Mighty Meat pellets. Fish with a little PVA bag. Yeah, I'm over the moon with it. This is 80 pound of fish in 2 bites, so can't complain. Cool, we'll slip him back and hopefully a bit more action throughout the night. So playing third fish of the session. It's not quite midnight. Don't feel quite as big as the other two, but it still feels a good fish. Nearly ready for netting. Nope, not yet. Oh. There we go. Nice one. It's not quite as big as the others, but we'll get it out on the mat and have a look. This is the third one of the session, just under 30 pound. This one was taken on my second rod, which has luncheon meat on, with a bit of mushed up meat in a PVA bag. We've positioned this in an area that we saw a few showing earlier, so like the tail slaps on the surface. So cast just a single hook bait with a PVA bag, and yeah, the rod's ripped off into darkness. It's brilliant. We'll get this one slipped back and hopefully have some more action throughout the night. Ready? It's the biggest of the trip so far at 43.5 pound. This one was taken on 20mm Mighty Meat. Really, Dexter?
It's fine.
Yeah, this one was taken on 20mm Mighty Meat. So we're going to slip this one back and hopefully try and get some sleep. So it's 4:30 now and I've had about 2 hours and I'm absolutely knackered. But yeah, brilliant. Good afternoon. Hooked into the 5th cat of the session now. I've had a bit of a lull in the action for the last few hours. I've managed to catch up on some much needed sleep after last night. This one's fighting very, very different to the others. The other ones have been sort of sticking to the bottom, whereas this is kiting left and fighting up in the water, which is unusual for a catfish, really. It's putting up a really, really good account for itself. Get in there. That was the hardest fight I've ever had from a cat. That was ridiculous. Right, let's get her out and have a look on the mat. So this fish you just see me playing, it came in at just under 40 pound. We're going to get it slipped back and then have a run through the setup that I've been using to catch these beasts. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to talk through one of my setups I'm using to target the catfish here at Fendick's. So starting at the bait, we've got a large piece of luncheon meat hair rigged onto a size 2 wide gape hook. The hook link is made of 100-pound specialised catfish braid. We've got a large anti-tangle sleeve, so this is a Zig Rig anti-tangle sleeve. So because of these supple braid hook length, they are quite liable to knot or tangle on the cast. So the large anti-tangle sleeve helps combat that. This is put onto a running rig. I'm using a 4-ounce lead, which might seem overkill considering it's quite a small lake here, but the larger lead, that helps create a rig which has got a lot less resistance, because the larger lead will stick onto the bottom, whereas if you're using sort of an ounce lead, maybe 1.5 ounce lead, it might catch up the line and the catfish will feel more resistance than what they will with the larger lead. I'm going up to, I've got 1 metre of rig tubing because that's the rules here at Fendick's. Going on to 20-pound mono. I've got one of the Rod Hutchinson 4.5 Scepter spot and marker rods. And they've been dealing with the catfish really well. As you'd have seen on some of the previous shots, they've got a really good thrill action. Going down to a bait runner reel. I'm using the bait runner reel again for the low resistance, so I have the bait runner set really loose, so as a catfish picking up and running away, they feel very, very minimal resistance. So I'm going to I've been fishing this rod with a little PVA bag. I'm going to knock up a stick mix just to show you what I'm actually putting into this. So to start with, I've got a lot of meat. I'm going to really mush this up with my hands. It feels horrible and it's really, really greasy, but the catfish absolutely love it. Next, I'm going to add some of the Cat Bites ground bait, just a good handful. And I'm going to continue to mush that up to mix the meat in with that. And then next, I've got these 4mm pellets. These we're trying out. They're still in the testing phase at the moment. They're really, really oily, fishy sort of pellet, meant for loose feed or going into stick mixes like this. Then finally, I'm going to add the Cat Bites liquid food. This stuff absolutely stinks, but it creates a really, really nice cloud in the water. I'm going to put quite a good helping for this in, because this helps bind the stick mix together as well. So I'm going to put this into a PVA mesh bag. I'll make the stick about that long, and then I'm going to position this in an area where we've seen catfish showing. So like carp, they do show themselves. They're not quite the same way carp do. You tend to hear the tail slap of the catfish, and they just roll over. And it also gives them away when you'll see silverfish darting out of the water with obviously catfish chasing them. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put this rod, just down in an area of the lake where we've seen quite a lot of activity. Right, so I'm going to get a bag tied up and get this out, and then I'm going to show you my second setup, which I've been using the Cat Bites pellets. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the second rig that I've caught the majority of the cats on here. So I've got the same setup as before. It was a knotless knot, but I've got two 20mm of the Cat Bites hook baits on. I think the bottom one's 20mm mighty meat, and then the top one's 20mm krill and tuna. I've got that just topped with half a pop-up just to give it a bit of buoyancy and just help it sink a little bit slower through the water. I'm going to position this with a baiting pole just so I can put a small handful of pellets directly over the top of the hook bait, and then that should be enough for the night. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'm just about to ship this rod out now with a baiting pole. I'm just putting a small handful of the large hook baits into the baiting spoon. Then I'm going to position this on an area where there's not too many features in this lake. So it's an area that I've had bait going in over the last couple of days. and it's an area that's done a couple of bites for me. Right, so one thing that's worth mentioning is that I've got both rods pointing directly at the spot. That's to minimise resistance, as if you were pike fishing. Like, most predators don't like resistance, and it's the same with catfish. So obviously with the rod pointing at the spot, they're not pulling against the tip of the rod. So yeah, hopefully I've got 2 rods in now. Hopefully we're in for a busy night. So we've just hooked into another cat. This time it was on a live bait. We just had a chat with the bailiff, and he tipped us off and said that they do like a live bait in here, and the rules do allow it, providing the live bait's caught from this lake. So yeah, that's what we've done, just under a float. And yeah, putting up a really good account for itself. This is my first ever catfish on a live bait, I've got to say. There we go. I think that's nearly in. And in, sorted. Oh, that was brilliant. It's a bit smaller than the rest, but more than welcome. Right, this one's only a small one, so we're going to slip it straight back and see if we can get another one before it gets dark. So I think there's a chance for another on the live baits. But yeah, it's only a little one. Right, so it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. The rod that I showed you earlier with the stick mix to a showing fish is gone. It's been a bit of a hairy battle so far. I'm not sure what it was snagged in, but it won't move for about 5-10 minutes. But as starting to tie in now. Oh, nice. Right, definitely not as big as what it made out to be. Nice. Right, this is the fish you've just seen me playing. I think it's another 20 pounder. I think it's about mid-20s. I'm not going to bother weighing it. I'm going to get him quickly slip back and get the rod back out. But yeah, it's turned out to be a right session. This is. I think this is seventh bite, or 7th one landed now. So yeah, it's not bad at all. Awesome. This is another 40. This is my 3rd 40 in 8 fish. So it's not bad going at all. Put up a real good account for itself. This was on the stick mix cast showing fish. But yeah, I'm over the moon. 3 40s in a session. It was a bit of a quiet night last night. I had a bit of action really close together. But then yeah, actually managed to get some sleep. It's just before 7 now. Hooked into another one. It's a little bit smaller, this one, by the looks of it. More than welcome. Ninth cat of the session. This one's about 20 pound. Still got a few hours left, but they do seem to have switched off a little bit. But to be honest, I can't complain at having nine in a session. But yeah, let's get this one slipped back. Awesome. So we come to the end of the session here at Fendick's. We've been fishing on Lake 4. We've had 9 cats all together. I think we've had 3 40s, 3 30s, and then 3, I think, between sort of high doubles, low 20s. So there's 5 lakes here at Fendick's all together. I think lakes 3 and lake 4 have got the catfish in. Both of them also got carp to over 30, so it's a real nice mixed fishery. So there's toilets and showers here on site. It's a really clean site. Staff have looked after us really well. Check out the website if you want any more information on the fishery. But yeah, I've really enjoyed myself here. I've done really well. I'm really pleased.